In this demonstration, we're going to talk about the different item types when you're entering in an item. Let's go to the item list. Click Add. The Inventory Item Type field is used to specify what type of item is being added. If you choose Inventory, this is for merchandise that you purchase and resell and for which you track on-hand quantities. Service is services such as miscellaneous fees, charges, or hourly labor for which on-hand quantities are not tracked. Non-inventory are the same properties as service items, but often used for incidental items such as store supplies or small items that you do not wish to count. This allows you to have two categories for non-merchandise items and the ability to post them to different accounts in your QuickBooks financial software. Keep in mind, on-hand quantities are not tracked. An assembly item is an item built from other pre-existing inventory items and optionally sold at a discount. The component items, once added to the assembly, are no longer available individually. A group item provides a method to quickly sell a group of items that are already in your item list, optionally at a discounted group price. Unlike an assembly item, groups are not pre-built and the included items remain available individually. There is one other item that isn't listed here, and it's a special order item. This can be used to sell custom or one-time merchandise that you do not currently carry in inventory and may never carry. Special order items can be added to inventory while creating a document to order, receive, or sell them. Later, the special order item can be converted to a regular inventory item if desired. I wanted to talk about the different item types to help you understand what item types will work best for your business. That concludes our demonstration. You can specify custom field labels or the size and attribute feature. Let's go to the item list. We'll edit an item. You can see where the size and attribute field is shown on the inventory item form. If we want to customize those fields, we can go to File, Preferences, Company. Underneath the General tab, you'll see My Field Labels, and here is where you can change them. So instead of attribute, I will type in color, and instead of size, I will choose prefix. I will save those fields, and we're back out to the item list. And when I go back into that inventory item, I can see where my fields have been changed to prefix and color. And that concludes our video on how to customize field labels. Use this procedure to add a new item to your inventory. First, open your item list. Click Add from the window toolbar. A new form is open. Enter the item name. This is a short item description that is printed on sales receipts. We will type in Dell touchscreen monitor. The type is inventory. We need to choose our department. So you would select a department to which the item belongs. Ours is a hardware with the monitor as a sub-department. The item description is a secondary, long description field used to record additional information. This field label can be customized to meet your needs. What I usually do is copy and paste it. But you can use this for a longer description. And this does not print on the sales receipt. For the size, you can enter the size of the item. You can use abbreviations. For example, if you have consistent entries, this will make filtering and finding items in inventory and reports easier. This field can also be used to describe a second item attribute other than size if desired. This field label can be customized to say something else other than size. We're going to type in 21 inches. That's how big the monitor is. And the attribute field can be used to describe an item characteristics such as the color, pattern, material, or a second size. This field label can also be customized. We will type in black with white trim. And here's where we can type in the regular price. This is a regular sale price, or you can leave it blank and let point of sale use a department pricing formula to calculate it for you. You can also click the pricing button if you want to use different prices and different markdowns. We don't have any markdowns set up. I'm going to type in $250. For the average unit cost, enter a value if this is an existing item in your store on program startup, or if you know the cost for a newly ordered item. If you leave this field blank, point of sale will autofill it with the cost when an item is received on a receiving voucher and maintain it by averaging the item cost over time. Since this is a new product, we will add $100. For the on-hand quantity, you can enter a value if this is an existing inventory item in your store on program startup. If you are defining a new item that you will be ordering, leave this field blank for now, and point of sale will autofill it in when you receive the item on a receiving voucher. Since we're adding this item on startup, we will enter 10. If you click on the Available button, if you have the multi-store set up, it will show you what you have available in each quantity by store. For the tax, you review the tax field and select a tax code if necessary. If you define a default tax code in the associated department record, it will be suggested for that item. For the UPC, you can scan or type the UPC code. You can choose a quick pick group. So since we've already defined them in our inventory preferences, we will add this to hardware. This concludes part 1 of adding our inventory item. In this demonstration, we will continue to finish entering a new inventory item. We'll pick up where we left off. We finished with the quick pick group. Now we're going to go up to the more information. Here's where we can enter the vendor. You want to select the primary vendor which you order the item. We ordered this item from Micro Warehouse. If you have alternate vendors that you purchase from, click this button and you can add up to 4 other vendors. You can also enter in their UPC code or their alternate lookup. And lastly, you can enter in their order cost. For Micro Warehouse, we can enter their order cost if we know. This is what you currently pay your vendor for 1 unit of the item. It's the same as the average unit cost, $100. The reorder point is if you want to enter a quantity, if you want the point of sale to remind you when it's time to order more of the item. We will put a reorder point of 2. If you click the View All button, you can have different order points for different stores. The item number is suggested by the system, but it can be edited. I would always suggest to keep this the same number. The alternate lookup number is a value that can be used to quickly add the item to documents. We're going to leave that blank at this point. The unit of measure is the smallest quantity by which an item is sold or purchased. We're going to click each. You can have multiple units of measure set up if you want to, but for the Dell touchscreen monitor, we don't need to. The manufacturer is Dell. This can also be used to filter on reports. In the comments section, you can enter any pertinent item information not covered by another item field. With the miscellaneous and shipping center, you can choose to print your tags. If you select this, it will include this item when printing your tags. For items that you do not tag, clear the checkbox. This will help prevent inadvertently printing the tags when the item is included on a document or in a list for which you are printing the tags. You can select to have the item's reorder point temporarily ignored and alerted if the item is added to a purchase order or receiving voucher. This option can be used to remove seasonal or discontinued merchandise from your reorder reminders and reports. If you choose to use a serial number, then you will be prompted to enter serial numbers when this item is listed on documents. You can choose whether or not your sales can be calculated in commissions for your employees. You can also choose whether this item can be part of your rewards program. If you ship this item, you can enter your shipping specifications to use when shipping the item. Underneath the QuickBooks Options box, if you integrate with QuickBooks Financial, you can choose what fields that this item would go to for your cost of goods sold, your income account, and your asset account. To add the item to your mobile device, click the Sync to Mobile box in the More Info section. Once you're done filling out your item, click Save. Let's go back to our home page. That concludes our video on how to add an inventory item. Either service and non-inventory items can be used to sell or charge for non-merchandise services and fees, such as for tailoring, repairs, gift wrapping, recycling fees, and delivery charges. The on-hand quantity of both of these item types is always 0. Non-inventory items are also sometimes used for incidental merchandise items for which you do not wish to track quantities. Having 2 item types for these uses allows you to categorize and post the sales to different income accounts in your QuickBooks Financial software and on point of sale reports. To define a service or non-inventory item, start adding a new item as usual. So we'll go to the item list. We'll click Add in the window. You'll type in an item name, delivery service. For the type, this is where we will choose service. If it's a non-inventory part where you're not going to keep track of any quantities in stock, you would choose non-inventory. We will click service. For a department, we will choose a service department. The item description, we will name that delivery service also. We're not going to add a size or an attribute. The regular price for that is $100 per delivery. The average unit cost, we'll leave that 0. Typically, the average unit cost of these items are 0. Exceptions are when you sublet a service to an outside company or are purchasing an incidental item, in which case you should enter the unit cost. Again, there's no on-hand quantity. And usually for delivery service, I know in Michigan, it's non-taxable, so we will keep this as non. There's no UPC number, and there's no quick pick group. And we will just leave everything as defaulted and click Save. Here you will see the inventory item detail for delivery service. And that concludes our video on how to add a service and non-inventory item. An assembly item is an item that is itself composed of 2 or more other inventory items and sold as a set. Here's an example that I wanted to show you. This is a computer that's been refurbished, and everything that we show in this assembled item went into create this refurbished computer. You build assembly items from the existing items in inventory, which are referred to as a component items. An assembly item can also be a component item of another assembly. When you build an assembly, the on-hand quantity of each component item is reduced by the quantity of the item included into the assembly, and the on-hand quantity of the assembly item is increased by 1. Assemblies can also be broken, thus freeing the component items to be sold individually again. The assembled item has a single associated tax code. The entire assembly is taxed or not based on this code. Use judgment and observe local tax regulations if mixing taxable and non-taxable items in assembly. Consider listing a non-taxable component as a separate service or non-inventory item on the receipt, or use a group item instead. You can even include an assembly item in a group item. Once an assembly is defined and built, it can be listed on documents in the same manner as other items. Keep in mind that only headquarters can define assembly items, but remote stores can build and break assemblies as necessary to meet local sales demand. In the next video, we will go into detail on how to set up an assembled item. An assembly must be defined and then built to make it available to sell. To define and build assemblies, first be sure all component items have been added to inventory individually. So we have the hard drive, we have the processor, we have the monitor, and we have the keyboard, plus the time to install the hardware. So we have everything. Now let's click Add from the item list. Enter a descriptive name for the assembly item in the item name field. Refurbished Acer computer. In the item type field, choose assembly. If the items included in the assembly come from more than one department or vendor, you may want to set up a new department and/or vendor called assemblies or similar to that to track and report the sale of the assembled items. You can enter a size if you want to. the attribute. You can enter a price. We will enter 500. You cannot enter an average unit cost or an on-hand quantity at this time. The quantity will be created when you build the assemblies. The average cost will automatically calculate as the sum of the average unit cost of the component items. This cost will be recalculated each time you build or break assemblies. Keep in mind, if you don't add a regular price, Point of Sale will autofill the field with the sum of the component item prices once they are added. You can also edit the price later if needed. You need to enter a tax code. The entire assembly will be taxed or not based on this code. You cannot mix taxable and non-taxable component items in an assembly. You can enter the UPC, or if it's going to be entered with a quick pick group, you can enter the vendor. Since we're creating the item on our own, we are the vendor. Once you're finished entering all the information in any of the other fields that you want, click Save. Now that we've defined the assembled item, the next video will show you how to build assemblies. To build your assembly product, click the Assembly button next to the Item Type field. The Assembly Details window is displayed. The information entered so far is shown on the left, and the grid on the right is used to display the component items in the assembly. Click Edit Assembly. In the Scan or Enter Information drop-down box, scan or type item information to search for the item to add. Now we will build the refurbished computer. We need to add the motherboard, and here's where you can specify the quantity of the component item. By default, each item is listed with a quantity of 1. Click the quantity plus or the quantity negative button to quickly increase or decrease by 1, or click the quantity button to enter another number. Quantity is the only editable field for the component items. Keep entering it until you finish your assembled item. And keep adding items. Let's see here what goes into a computer. We have the mouse. You've got the keyboard. Okay, I think we're getting there. Oh, we can't forget our installation time, right? Okay. So we have the installation of the hardware, and that took 3 hours. Now that we're done, we can click Save. We get a confirmation that we've modified the components of this assembly and group, which may affect the price. Would you like to update the price to equal the sum of the new component prices? We'll click Yes. And that is how you enter and build your assembled item. A group item is not really an item at all, even though it is defined in inventory in the same manner as other items. Rather, a group item merely provides an efficient method to list all the component items on a document by entering a single item identifier. Optionally, add a discounted price. Quantities and costs are not tracked for the group item. They are tracked for the individual component items included in the group. The component items included in a group remain in inventory individually and can be sold individually. So these three items on the screen can also be sold individually, whereas with an assembled item, these three would not be able to be sold individually, at least with one of the quantities. When a group is listed on a sales document, the price of each component item is proportionally adjusted so that the total equals the specified group price. The group price cannot be edited on the document, but the component item prices can be edited if desired. Unlike an assembly, sales taxes are computed on each component item individually based on the sales tax code assigned to each. Therefore, taxable and non-taxable items can be mixed in a group. Only headquarters can define group items, but all stores can list group items on documents. To look at the preference on how the group item will show on your receipt, when printing group item on receipt or order, print item prices only, print the group price only, or you can choose to print the group and item prices. This is where you would change your preference and then save. That concludes the group items overview. Watch our next video on how to add a group item to your item list. To add and define a group item, be sure all the items to be included in the group have been added to inventory individually. We want to group the Dell computer along with the Dell monitor. So we can see that those are in inventory. We will choose Add from the item list. Enter a descriptive name for the group in the item name field. Dell Computer Bundle. In the item type, choose Group. For the department, we will choose the Dell Computer. We will copy and paste the item description. The size will enter 20-inch. Black. The price is $1,000. You cannot enter a quantity or cost information for a group. These values are not tracked for a group item. We did enter a regular price for the group. If you do not enter a price now, it will be auto-filled as a sum of the group item prices upon saving the group. You can edit the group price later if needed. You can choose whether it's taxable or non-taxable. But remember, each individual item will be taxed based on that item type tax. Enter a unique UPC or alternate lookup for use in listing the group on receipts and other documents. And enter any other information in other fields as appropriate to define the group. Click Save. The group item is added to your item list and the details are automatically displayed. Click the Group button next to the item type field. The Group Detail windows displays the information entered so far on the left of the window, and the grid on the right is used to add the component items to the group. Click Edit Group. In the Scan or Enter Information drop-down box, scan or type the item information to search for the item to add. We know that it's going to be Dell. We have the Dell computer. And then we want the Dell monitor. So you can see that the department is the Dell computer. The item description is a Dell computer bundle. Here's a regular price. You can change this price, or you can leave it blank if you wanted to select the price listed on the right hand side. Click Save. You'll get a confirmation that you've modified components of the assembly group which may affect the price of the assembled group. And then it asks if you would like to update the price to equal the sum of the new component prices. We're going to select yes. Only headquarters can define group items, but all stores can sell group items. Once defined, you can enter all the items included in a group on a sales receipt or other document by entering the group identifier, which is either the UPC, the alternate lookup, or the item number. A group item cannot be a component of a second group. All other item types are allowed in the group. The component items are displayed on the group item form for reference. And that completes our demonstration on how to add a group item. Use this procedure to add a group of items to inventory as a style. To add a new style, display your item list and select Add. A blank Add Item form is displayed. Enter the item name. We will name this HP computer. Choose the item type, which will be inventory. The department, let's type in computer, HP, and enter. It's telling us that the department computer HP does not exist. Would you like to add it as a department now? We're going to click Add Department. The item's description, we will copy and paste. We will click the Style button. It will ask us if we want to save changes and continue. We will click Yes. The Style window is displayed. We want to enter information that is common to all items in the style in the item fields in the upper section of the window. Let's add the computer sizes. Let's add the computer colors to the top. The black, white, gray, blue, and red. For the sizes, we'll have the computer sizes going down. 15 inch, 17 inch, 19 inch. Oops, let's change that. And then we'll go with the 21 inch. The axis labels will reflect your custom item description labels. This creates a line in your item list for those items. When you first receive the new items on a receiving voucher, Point of Sale will add the received quantities. Leave a cell blank if you do not plan to carry a particular size attribute combination. If the style items are already physically in the store and not being received on a voucher, you can enter the actual on-hand quantities instead of zeros. We'll put some zeros. We already have some of these on hand. But remember, don't leave them blank or you won't be able to add anything. 7 there, go 2 here, 6, whoops, okay, move that over. And I guess we have a lot of red in stock. We can select Save. Look at all of our HP computers. You can go back in, you can edit individual style items as necessary to reflect the unique UPCs, cost, prices, etc. And that concludes our demonstration on how to add a new style. Use this procedure to directly edit a style in inventory. If the style has a template applied and the changes are permanent, you can also edit the template. To edit an existing style, we're going to choose a style that we created in a previous video, and we will click Edit. In the basic information section of the inventory item, we can choose the Style button, and this will bring up our style template. Make necessary edits in the top pane. Keep in mind that editing these fields will affect all items in the style. Make specific style item edits in the style grid. To add a new style item, select a Click to Add label for a column or row and type in a new size or attribute. Enter a 0 in the new cell fields created to add the new style items to inventory. So we're going to add another style or another size. We'll add 23 inches. And then this is where we would add in how many we have in stock. So we have just created each of those new inventory items. To edit sizes and or attributes of style items, click the labels of the horizontal and vertical axes and type a new value. Note that changing a size or attribute in the grid changes it for all items in that row or column. A confirmation window is displayed to alert you to this fact. So I'm going to type in, we're going to add 4 white 21-inch computers. And now that we're done, we will click Save. Just as in an item form, edits to an item's on-hand quantity or average unit cost result in point of sale creating adjustment memos, which are sent to QuickBooks financial software to update your inventory values. And that concludes our demonstration on how to edit a style. We're going to talk about the order cost. So we'll go to the item list, click Add. Under the More Information section, the order cost is listed in this area. It's different than the average unit cost. The order cost is an item's cost you are currently paying your vendor for 1 unit of the item. Over time, with cost increases, it is normal for your order costs to move higher than your average unit cost, as you may have some quantity left in stock that was purchased at a lower cost when the new shipments are received. When you make a purchase order, the order cost in inventory is suggested as the purchase order cost. You can edit this cost on the PO if necessary. When you receive the ordered items, the voucher that references the PO will automatically take its cost from the PO. When a voucher with the changed cost is saved, it will automatically update the order cost field in inventory so that the new order cost is suggested on the next PO or voucher made for the item. Point of Sale also calculates the new average unit cost for you in this situation. Hopefully this helps you understand the difference between the order cost and the average unit cost. The item pricing window allows you to enter or edit an item's cost and price information, including markdown price levels, an MSRP price, and margin or markup values on a single window. You can open this window while adding, editing, or viewing an item. Click into the item list, choose an item, edit that item, scroll down to where you see the regular price, click the pricing button. The pricing window is opened. If using multiple units of measure feature, select the unit for which you want to view and edit this information. The regular price of the item is your everyday retail price. If you wish to use a department pricing formula to calculate your price, leave this field blank when adding a new item. The MSRP is the manufacturer's suggested retail price. If entered here, it is printed on the price tags to demonstrate savings to your customers. Keep in mind that some tag templates may not display the MSRP due to size limitations. The cost is the average unit cost for the item quantity currently on hand. Enter this cost only if you have an on-hand quantity of the item when initially setting up point of sale. Otherwise, as you make receiving vouchers, point of sale automatically updates this field. The margin percentage is the gross margin or profit margin percentage, auto-filled from the department record on new items and updated automatically as average unit cost changes. Manually editing the margin results in a recalculation of your price. The markup percentage is an alternate way to express profit. When either are edited, the other is recalculated automatically. We'll go over to the price levels. Optionally, you can enter prices and markdown percentages for your markdown price levels for the item. These are names that you have custom created in your preference list. If you use point of sale's pricing formula to calculate your regular prices and have defined price level markdown percentages, point of sale automatically calculates the price at each level for your items. Enter edit a price or markdown percentage for each price level if this item's pricing is to be different from your default markdowns. Again, as we mentioned, you can define or change your default price level, names, and markdown percentages in company preferences. Keep in mind that changing your default markdown levels here do not update existing item prices. You can use Price Manager to quickly change existing item prices if desired. You can also set different prices at each level for each unit of measurement of an item. And the one last thing I will mention with price levels is I had a store owner who owned a store in Hawaii along with his other stores in Michigan. And of course, the prices he needed to charge in Hawaii was a lot higher than Michigan. So the way that he did that is he actually put a negative percentage in the markdown to increase Hawaii's prices. That concludes our demonstration to explain how to enter item price and cost into your inventory items. There are two levels of item unit of measure in point of sale. The first one is a single unit of measure. We're going to go to the preferences. So we'll go File, Preferences, company preferences, and then we'll go to the inventory page and then to the unit of measure, and here is where you can have your different units and measures. For example, a candy store might define units of measure of ounces and pounds. So we can put ounces in here, and then pounds. Let's say that you use multiple units of measure to purchase and sell items by different units. So let's say you purchase an item by a case, but you sell it by the bottle. Or you buy in bulk, but sell it by the pound. Select the I want to set up multiple units of measure checkbox on this page to enable the feature. Let's click Save. Then let's add an item, and here you see then on the item record you can define a base unit of measure and up to 3 alternate units that you buy or sell by. Each unit of measure can have a different UPC code, alternate lookup value, and sales price, allowing you to list any of the units of measure on documents. You can also specify your default purchase and sell by units. If the multiple unit of measure feature is turned off, you still retain the single unit of measure capability. In the next video, we will show you how to set up multiple units of measure. To set up different units of measure, we first have to set the preference to accept multiple unit of measures. We'll go to the unit of measure in the company preferences, and here's where you define each unit of measure that you sell your product by. You can add more unit of measures. You can remove them by clicking on and highlighting the unit of measure and then choose remove. You can move your different units of measure so that they show in different places on your item sheet. And here is where you would check that you want to be able to set up multiple units of measure for inventory, non-inventory, and service items. Once you're finished with that, click Save. We'll go to the item list. Let's just edit one of the items. Here you can see this looks a little bit different than before. Before it just had unit of measure. Now it shows base unit of measure. Here is where we specify the base unit for the item in the base unit field. Select from the units defined in the preferences. So if we click on this down arrow, it will show us all the preferences that we had set up. We will choose each. It is strongly recommended you make the smallest unit in which you buy or sell the item the base unit. This helps avoid fractional calculations. Other information entered on the main item form should be for your base unit. Next, we'll click the Units button. The Units of Measure window is open. We will start by entering in the unit of measure underneath the base unit of measure. With the unit of measure 1, we will purchase by the case. We can also put any UPC information or alternate lookup information in these boxes. How many base units are there for this unit? There's 12. And we can put the regular price in here too. We'll put 2,000. And it shows a quantity of hand of 8. You can do that for another unit of measure all the way up to 3 units of measure. Then you need to go back to the top of the window, and we usually order by the case. We can enter new order cost now or keep our current order cost. We'll just keep it at 0. The unit that I usually sell by is each. Select Close to return to the main item form, and then you can fill out any other information in the other item fields as necessary, and then choose Save. And that's how you enter multiple units of measure in buying and selling. You can associate up to 2 pictures with each item or item style in inventory. The pictures can then automatically be viewed at all workstations on your network when you display the item record and when adding the item to most point-of-sale documents. The default picture is used to generate the thumbnail picture displayed throughout point-of-sale. An alternate picture can also be assigned so you can switch between them. To quickly add one picture to an item, let's click on the item through the item list. We'll add a picture to the laptop on consignment. We will edit. We'll look for the picture. We'll choose laptop on consignment. It brings up the picture. And then we'll save. To add a second picture, remove a picture, or swap between pictures, find your item in the item list. We'll choose this again. We will show the details. We can click on the current picture to edit the picture. We can clear the picture if we want to, delete it. Let's add that picture back in. We can also add an alternative picture. Let's see if we can find it. I'm going to be honest, I don't have any more pictures of computers. So how about I just put a picture of my daughter? So now we have the alternative picture. If you want to swap these pictures, you can do that. The laptop on consignment shows Shay. Let's swap it back. And then when we've completed what we want to do in this section, we can click back and it shows the picture of the laptop on consignment. If you need to add pictures for a lot of items at once, consider importing them with the Data Import Wizard. Only headquarters can add or edit item pictures. Headquarters can then send the pictures to remote stores, making them available to view there. That concludes our demonstration on how to add pictures to your items. We're going to go to our item list and we're going to edit this highlighted item shown here. The multi-vendor feature allows you to track and purchase an item from one primary vendor and up to 4 alternate vendors. Unique UPCs, alternate lookups, and order cost can be defined for each vendor from whom you purchase the item. This allows you to purchase the same item from any of several vendors as availability or cost change. All purchases of the item, regardless of vendor, are pooled in inventory once received and are tracked with a single on-hand quantity, average cost, price, etc. However, the unique UPC, order costs, and alternate lookups allow you to list the item on documents using the information for any of the vendors. This feature also allows purchasing and receiving reports to be filtered by actual vendor used. To define alternate vendors for an item in inventory, we need to add each vendor. So we'll choose Graham Cables and Supplies. The order cost is 10. We will choose a number for the ALU. We will choose alternate vendors, and then we will add another vendor, a micro warehouse. You can put the UPC if you know that, and then the ALU 704, and this order cost is $10.50. You can do that for vendor number 3, 4, and 5. Once you complete that, you can click on the X then you can select Save. If you want to print tags for an item with specific vendor information, print the tags from the purchase order or receiving voucher. When printing tags from inventory, the primary vendor's information is used. To print tags with UPC codes requires that you first customize your tag template using the Print Designer, shown on the File, Tools, and then Print Designer. That concludes your video on how to track items from multiple vendors. Sometimes the quickest way to create a new item in inventory is to copy an existing similar item. Go to your item list, select the item you want to copy. From the I Want To menu, select Copy. You can also select Copy on the left-hand side of your screen if you have the blue button customized on your screen. We're going to choose Copy from the I Want To list. The following fields are not copied onto the new item, such as on-hand quantity, the UPC, the alternate lookup, and the unorderable flag. The order cost, unless 0 from the copied item, is populated to the average unit cost of the new item. The order cost of the new item is reset to 0. If you have alternate vendors with different order costs, those values are left unchanged. Enter the new values into these fields and edit the other item fields as appropriate for the new item. At least one of the department, description, attribute, or size must be changed to avoid creating a duplicate item. We're just going to be really creative and go motherboard -1. Click Save, and you copied your item and created a new one. And that concludes our video on how to copy an item. This is a general procedure for editing most inventory items. From the item list, highlight an item on your list that you want to edit. Click Edit from the window toolbar, or click on the I Want To and choose Edit. We'll choose Edit from the window toolbar. This item is open in an editable form. Make your necessary edits. If you edit the average unit cost or on-hand quantity, Point of Sale creates adjustment memos to update your inventory value. If integrated with QuickBooks financial software, these memos are sent with the next financial exchange. Once you're done with all of your edits, click Save. One other note that I want to mention: if you're using multiple units of measure, the average unit cost and on-hand quantity are editable only by your base unit of measure. Click Save, and that's how you edit. Now this concludes your presentation how to edit an inventory item. Inventory items can be deleted when you no longer need them, with some restrictions. Deleting an item does not affect the ability to see the item on saved documents or on reports based on history documents. To delete items, select the item or items which you no longer need. We will hold the Shift key and we will highlight the items that we want to delete. Then we can choose the I Want To, Delete, or you can choose Delete if you have it listed on the left-hand side of your toolbar. We'll choose Delete. We get a warning message. It tells us one item has quantity on hand. If you click on the More Information, it will explain what cannot be deleted and what can be deleted. As you can see, the quantity on hand may be deleted. If you choose to delete this item, which has on-hand quantity, Point of Sale will create an adjustment memo to adjust your inventory value. If you delete items that are listed on an open order, you should edit the order document to remove the items. And then below you can see where it says 3 items to be deleted with no warnings. We'll click delete. It wants us to confirm the deletion. So it lets us know that this will permanently delete the selected items. We will type in yes. We will select OK. If you are deleting an item because you have inadvertently created a duplicate of the same item, consider merging the items instead, as this will combine the 2 item histories into one record and remove the other. And that concludes our demonstration on how to delete an item. Occasionally you may find that you inadvertently entered the same item into inventory twice, or you have 2 items you prefer to track as a single item. Merging them allows you to combine the 2 items into a single item record with the combined history of both. You specify which of the items' records is kept and which is removed. Let's go to the item list. Keep in mind that only 2 items can be merged at a time. Both items must be of the same type. So they either have to be inventory, service type, group type, or assembly type. Merging of assembly or group items requires that both items include the same component items. Merging items can be done at the headquarters only. To merge 2 items from the item list, we will select 2 of the HP computers. We're going to choose 44, the item number 44, and we're also going to choose item number 46 to merge. Now when they're not close together, you have to click the Control and your left mouse button to choose the other inventory record. Now if you were going to choose 2 in a row, you could just highlight on the inventory item and then press your Shift key and then the down arrow. But we want to choose 44 and we want to choose 46. We will go to the I want to menu and choose merge. The merge items window is open. The item to be kept is shown on the left and the item to be removed is shown on the right. Review the items to ensure that they are correct. So this one is item number 44 and this one is item number 46. You can merge the items. If you need to swap the items to switch the sides, you can do that. But again, we want to keep the one to the left. We will choose merge items. If the item being removed was included on prior transactions or is a component of another item or another assembly or group, a list of documents and item records that will be affected by the merge is displayed. A confirmation dialog is displayed when the merge process is complete, and it does show that the merge has been successful. We'll click OK. And now you can see that number 46 is gone and everything, all the history is merged into 44. Keep in mind that the quantities of the merge items are combined. All other values are preserved from the item record you select to keep. If necessary, you can edit the retained item after merging to revise these values. Point of Sale automatically creates adjustment memos to combine item quantities and to update your inventory value. If the removed item had an average unit cost different than the retained item, these adjustment memos will have a reason-filled entry of merge item. All instances of the removed item on history documents, order documents, and active but not saved physical inventory counts are replaced with the retained item. However, the item cost is not recalculated on affected history documents. If you have an on-hand quantity of the removed item with printed price tags, you may have to reprint those tags from the retained item record so they include the correct item identifier, such as a barcode, price, etc. And lastly, any inventory changes resulting from an item merge are sent to the remote stores with the next store exchange file. However, remote store history documents that are updated at headquarters when merging items are not sent back to the remote stores. The remote store history will continue to reflect the item circumstances in place at the time the original document was made at the store. The merge item procedure can also be initiated from the duplicate item reminders window. Now, with all that information, we have completed how to merge an item record. What is available quantity in inventory? Let's go to the item list and let's choose this inventory product, 2 GB of RAM. Let's edit that so we can give you an example of what the on-hand quantity looks like. So once we click this available, this will bring up our available quantities window. The term available quantity refers to the on-hand quantity minus quantities already committed on active customer orders. Available quantity is sometimes referred to as available to promise. The available quantities window is the best way to see at a glance all the quantity information for an item. In a multi-store configuration, this window can also be used to enter or view item quantities at other stores. So as you can see here, we have it set up with 2 stores. Right now in store number 1, we have 187 of the 2 GB of hardware, whereas at store 2, there's none. What's important about this window is at a glance you can view all the quantities related to the item at your store, like we said. In the available is the quantity available to sell. Again, we talked about this. It equals your on-hand quantity minus quantity committed on active customer orders. You can click on the on-hand quantity, and this is the current quantity on hand in inventory. On order is the quantity on active purchase orders. Does not include POs with the status of pending. As you can see, it took the quantity by store for store number 1 to 0. Pending is the quantity on active customer orders and purchase orders that have had their status set to pending. Typically, these orders are used for quotes, estimates, or planning purposes, but the orders have not yet been accepted by customers or submitted to vendors. In a multi-store configuration, quantities for other stores are as of the last completed store exchange. If you track multiple units of measure for an item, the quantities displayed are for your base unit. And that completes our demonstration on how to understand the available quantities information. Item ratings and trends provide graphical rankings of sales performance based on profit, net sales quantity, or net sales dollars over a specific period of time. This feature helps you quickly identify hot-selling items that you might want to feature and slow movers that require corrective action. Shown here is an inventory item that we've edited. Here is the statistics section of an item record, which includes the graphical item rating and quantitative sales, profit, and margin information for the item. Trends are not included in this window. Both ratings and trends columns can be added to your item list using customized list of column features. Ratings and trends can be turned on or off, and the performance criteria and time period set by the server workstation on the Ratings and Trends page of Company Preferences. Let's go to our Company Preferences. Choose File, Preferences, Company. Go down to the bottom on the left-hand side to Ratings and Trends. You may recall that we had looked at this before when we were setting up our customers. And this is where the rating and trend indicators can provide key performance information. So you can choose whether you want it to be based on your profit, the quantity, the total sales, or the turn in history. In this column here, you can enter the time frame. Let's cancel out of here. Let's go back to edit our inventory item. Item ratings use a familiar 5-star system, reflecting the performance of the item over a specified time period. Each additional star represents the next 20th percentile of the range between the highest and the lowest values in the ranked value. Hover your mouse over the star icons to view the actual ranked values for an item and the maximum for period of all items. The sales performance trend of an item is indicated by up or down arrow icons. Rankings are updated at least one a day on program startup or automatically between 1 a.m. and 5 a.m. if your computer is running. Rankings are not updated for the current day sales as they are made. The ability to view item rankings can be controlled by a security right. Group items are never ranked, but the group component items are ranked individually. If you own multi-store, those rankings are calculated at headquarters only and reflect sales at all stores. They are sent to remote stores where they can be viewed. That concludes our video on item rating and trends. Item history provides a listing of every transactional document that has affected an item and a running tally of changes in the on-hand quantity. You can click any listed document to view it. Item statistics include an item summary, including cost and profit information and total quantities in and out. The item's history is shown when you edit the inventory item information. If you have multi-stores, you'll be able to choose which store you want to take a look at. To view a listed document, you can double-click it. You're taken to the appropriate history list with the document pre-selected. This is a normal copy. Click back at the bottom of the document to return to inventory. The change column lists the document's effect on on-hand quantities. For example, if sale results in the on-hand quantity being reduced, therefore the quantity change is a negative number. Likewise, receiving a quantity into inventory is shown as a positive number. The on-hand column displays a running total of the on-hand quantity after being adjusted by the document. If the item is listed multiple times on the document, example, a customer exchange for the same item, the document is listed twice. Once for the return, a positive quantity, and once for the new sale, which is a negative quantity. And then the details will show who it's sold to or how the inventory was entered into the item list. The next video will help you understand the item ratings and trend over a specific period of time. First, let's go to the item list. We're going to edit. The term item identifiers refers to the item number, the universal product code, otherwise known as the UPC, and the alternate lookup values for items in inventory. Item identifiers are used for looking up and listing items on documents and for other program functions. First, we'll talk about the item numbers. Every item except special order items has an item number associated with it in inventory. You can edit the item number, but you cannot delete it. Valid entries are 1 through 1 million. Item numbers above 1 million are not recommended, as the barcode would be too large to fit on the default tag templates. Item numbers are used to print barcodes on tags in point of sale. Next is a universal product code, otherwise known as UPC. These are manufactured supplies tags with UPCs can be used to look up and list items on documents, provided the UPC has been recorded in this UPC field on the item record in inventory. UPCs must be unique and can contain numbers only. The UPC field on an item record can be used to record up to 18 digits. Point of Sale will convert UPC formats of less than 13 digits to a 13-digit form using a standard conversion algorithm. If a vendor provides alphanumeric barcodes that are not true UPC codes, do not enter those codes into the UPC field. UPC codes have a required format, and other code formats are not accepted. Consider using the alternate lookup field for these codes instead. So if you find that you entered the codes into the UPC and it doesn't show anything, then you probably would want to then paste them into the ALU. An alternate lookup is an optional field in inventory that can be used to look up, list, and print items on documents. The use of alternate lookups, this field can contain text descriptions, catalog part numbers, alphanumeric entries, abbreviated names, duplications of the item field, anything that allows you to quickly and positively identify a unique item. Alternate lookups must be unique for each item for which they are defined. To be effectively used to list items on documents, each alternate lookup entry should be a unique character string that can be easily remembered by cashiers, should not duplicate any items, item number, or UPC code. It is suggested that they start with a letter rather than a number. This helps ensure that alternate lookups do not duplicate an item or UPC number. If you have an alternate lookup of 1234 and an item number of 1234, both will be returned as matches when you enter 1234 in the item lookup field on a document. Hopefully this presentation helps you understand how the item identifiers work for an easy setup. Inventory reminders help you track and manage your inventory by alerting you to situations that may need your attention. When an item's combined on-hand quantity and on-order quantity has fallen below the reorder point, it is added to the reorder item reminder screen. You can print this list to help in creating purchase orders to replenish your inventory. Besides reorder reminders, you are also reminded when item prices change, when new items have been added to inventory, or when items have arrived to fill open customer orders. To view inventory reminders from the home page, select Reminders from the Inventory menu. You can select one of the available tabs. You have your Reorder Items tab. We don't have anything set in the system. We have price changes, so there have been 4 price changes. And this allows you to print your tags for these items with the new price or print out the item list. If you have duplicate items so that you have your UPC or your alternate lookup, if you have items that have the same numbers, you can either edit them or merge them. You can print this item list. This tab will show you all your new items, and you can print tags for these new items or print an item list. And the last one is to fill the customer orders. So you can fill these orders, you can have a report, you can create an item pick list. With the reminders window displayed, you can print the list or double click a displayed record to view it. And we'll double click one right here and we can view the record. If you have multiple stores, reminders are a handy way for remote stores to learn of price changes and new items. Thank you for watching my video. Please subscribe and click on the bell to be notified when I make another video about point of sale. Thank you, everybody.